Well, hey there, and welcome to the Apartment Building Investing Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Blank. Super excited that you're here today to learn about apartment building investing to become financially free. Let's get right into the show here with David Seymour. Hey, Dave, welcome to the show today.
Hey, Michael, thanks for having me, buddy. How are you?
That's great. The first question I got to ask you is because you had 4 seasons on A&E in a show called Flipping Boston.
Flipping Boston.
So, Dave, so what do you got to do to get picked up in your own show? I want to know.
You got to separate yourself from the pack, right? Okay. What is special about you? And at that time in my life, I didn't have a really strong financial career in real estate, but I was really good at spending money I didn't have. I was a financial donkey. So how could I separate myself from everybody else and say, hey, do a show with me? I used one of my biggest assets, which is profanity.
Yeah, is that right?
The show,
is that right? Yeah.
I filled out an application with a lot of profanity, and I guess they recognized that this guy was either a genius or a lunatic. And I told him not to call me in the application. Filled it with profanity, like "Go F Yourself LLC" was the name of the company I used. And they called, and when they called, they hung up, and then they called back, and the kid was laughing. So that's how it all started, Mike. It was crazy. It was crazy. I never thought we'd get a TV show. I was just, messing around to see if I could get some traction.
Yeah,
sure.
No kidding. But what were you doing at the time? And
I was firefighting. I was a firefighter and a paramedic. City of Lynn, Massachusetts, just north of Boston. They call it Lynn, the city of sin. You never come out the way you went in. It's got its own little reputation. Uh-huh. But I was fighting fires, spending money I didn't have. So I needed a second and a third job, work construction. I always say I was on an investor call about an hour before we jumped on. And the guy said to me, "You're very direct." I said, "Look, man," I said, "I'm a blue collar guy in a white collar world. I'm not going to dance around it. All right. The investment's $100,000. The opportunity's in front of you. Do you want it? Because if you don't want it, there's 1,000 people who do." And he went, "Oh, that's all right. I'll do it." You know what I mean? So I brought that kind of firefighter background into everything that I do in business today. And it's been profitable. It's been good. But fighting fires, brother.
Did you enjoy that? Because you did it for a good long while. Did you have fun with it?
16 years. Yeah, I did. I loved it. I didn't like the politics. I didn't like the BS that went with it all. But I tell you, it's, if anybody listening's got that military background or something of that nature, the faith in the person next to you is critical, right? And you can jump and leap that right into business as well, correct? So, faith in the people around you, camaraderie, without getting overly dramatic, live or die. You screw it up, people die. You get it right, people survive, right? But I'm an adrenaline guy. I always have been. I don't like to sit still. I always want to be in motion. And, the adrenaline rush from firefighting definitely fed the need for speed, baby.
Yeah. Is that what is that what kept you going for that long?
Yeah, I think. Look,
amazing.
I would. It was that. It was the consistency of the job, right? But unless you're self-employed or highly paid, a job doesn't usually get you where you want to go in today's society. So. I stayed in it that long for a couple of reasons. I was good at it. I loved paramedicine. I loved knowing that, I could pull up on a car accident or a cardiac scene or, pediatric situation, take a deep breath, go to work and, fix look, when people meet you in a paramedic scenario, you usually meet them at the very worst time of their lives, right? And the impact that you can have in that short period of time, I believe that to be like a gift that was given to me to be in that position to do that. Like I felt at times I didn't earn it, because people are so grateful when you can help, right? Service others. So, if I could be financially independent and still be a firefighter, I'd be honest with you, Michael, I think I would. I think I'd still do it. But, there was no financial freedom attached to being a firefighter for sure.
What made you realize that? Because you were there for a long time. What changed?
Man, you're going right at it. It was, it was financial illiteracy. I was working 120 hours every week, trading time for money. And that's a broken business model today. It's a broken business model back then, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm that kind of a guy who doesn't give up. And I kept on and I kept on and I kept on, and I ended up paying the price for that much time away from my family, which was, a marriage, a relationship with my now 25-year-old son that I nearly lost altogether. You can't be a dad, you can't be a husband, you can't be a wife, brother, son. You're not there. And I was in a financial situation that was not pleasant, and I didn't know how to fix it. And I actually heard an infomercial on the radio for a real estate seminar. So look, some people go to Yale, some people go to Harvard, some people go to Wall Street. I went to the street. I mean, that's where I learned real estate. I learned it on Main Street, not on Wall Street. And I got involved at a low level in the beginning. And because I committed, I just kept on doing it. I took my lumps and bumps along the way. I learned my lessons. Very proud to say I've never lost one dime of a private investor's capital has ever been with me in my 12-year journey. I've taken a few bruises along the way, but they haven't. So that's where it started. That was the transition. I was beaten into submission. It wasn't like I woke up one day, Mike, and I go, oh, today's the day that I think I'm going to be a real estate investor, So that's how it started.
It's interesting. I was beaten into submission as well, and I was very tempted to going back and getting a job. This was after having been an entrepreneur for a while, and I got the snot beat out of me in my restaurant experiment, which is time for another day. It sounds like you got the snot beaten out of you a little bit as well. But why did you not go to the easy fix, which is a job, right? Because you were used to having a job. Why did you all of a sudden go? Whatever you did, real estate, construction, why did you say, let me start a new company? That's a sure thing.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, man. That really is. Because working with my back it's got a ceiling to it. It's maxed out. It's maxed out. A job pays you 1 hour for your time. That's what a job does, right? End of conversation. It doesn't do anything else. And I had run out of time. So unless I could go get some kind of Harvard degree for 4 years and then come back into the workforce at a higher educated level and apply for a different job, there was no growth there. I wasn't going to change my financial landscape by getting another job, Michael. It just wasn't on the cards. So it was a case of having to learn how to maximize my time. Guy said to me one time, what is your time worth? And if I look at it today, I probably bill out somewhere around $4,500 to $5,000 an hour. That's what my time's worth today. Back when I was firefighting, it was worth $27, $30 an hour, right? So, how do you make that kind of a leap? Well, that's up to you, the individual.
So what'd you do then? How'd you claw yourself out of that situation?
Slowly, inch by inch. So I got educated. I'll be direct with you. I got educated in the seminar world of all places. It was Teach Me Foreclosure. This was in 2007. Teach Me Foreclosure, a free 1.5 hour seminar coming to your neck of the woods. How to do business with other people's money, other people's time, other people's influence. And that's where it started. I went to that event, and my now wife, Mary Beth, we were dating back then. She said she came to that Sunday, and it was like I could invest in some classes with people who were not only teaching real estate, but actually doing real estate, which was very important to a guy like me, right? I'm tangible. I want to touch it. And it was a $27,000 investment for like 4 or 5 classes, something like that, fundamentals. And she said, what do you think? I said, I can't trade any more time. I'm out of time, Mary Beth. I said, if you want a husband, if you want a life, if you want a relationship, I have to do something different. And she said to me, she said, I support you. Go get him, killer. She said, I'm proud of you. I love you. I'll do anything to support you. And she gave me permission that day to go be wealthy. And from a working class background, I wasn't always given that freedom. You know what I mean? And I went for it. I went at it with passion, man. I was aggressive. I'm going to be very frank with you. I was aggressive. Once I'd flipped that switch in my head, nobody was going to tell me I can't do something. Nobody was going to get in my way. And I did my first deal, and I made $5,000. It was a wholesale deal. And I get a check. It was on a single family property. I get a check for $5,000. And I didn't own the house, man. And all I did was sell a contract. And I swear to God, I step out of the attorney's office, and I'm waiting for the blues to light me up. Like I'm waiting for 5-0 because it felt illegal to me, you know. But once I'd done that, nobody could ever tell me I couldn't. Yeah. And I started looking around, and I just paid attention. I paid attention to the people who were around me. I started paying attention to the people I listened to. Guy said to me one time, show me who somebody gets their financial advice from. I'll show you what their financial future looks like. And I went, holy crap. All I was ever told was to do it one way. And, you know, it was a wholesale deal, and then it was a flip, and then another flip, and another flip, and then buy some commercial and hold it and sell it and cash flow it. And it just snowballed, man, and it grew and it grew. Got me out of a pre-foreclosure scenario. When I started in real estate, I was potentially going to negotiate a short sale on my primary residence. That's where I was at. 3 years later, I sold it for a $60,000, $70,000 profit, something like that. So, you know, real estate has saved my financial life. Money isn't everything, but what it did give me was it gave me the ability to be present with my now wife and my boys, my 8-year-old and my 10-year-old son, you know. So I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for what it did for me.
Well, and she was supportive of you because sometimes it can go the other way because, you know, you're not really providing for the family, you know,
right.
and that could have gone the other way, and it didn't, and you stuck with it too, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people give up, and you didn't.
There's a book out there. I think it's called like 3 Feet Short of Gold or something like that. Do you know the book?
I do. Yeah.
And it's like, what is that one thing more you could have done today? Mm-hmm. That's the question, right? Mm-hmm. Did I leave it all on the field today? Did I really go for it? You know, did I slack off and go watch a rerun of frickin' Oprah or something like that? You know, be accountable. To thine own self be true is something that I learned along the way. And at the end of the day, nobody's going to do anything for me, right? I say to Mary Beth in the morning when I leave, I say, I love you. I got to go out and kill some dinosaurs. I'll talk to you soon, right? I got to go out and do what I do. And I don't know. It's in my DNA, Michael, but tell me I can't do something.
Can't do
Just
it, Dave.
Try it.
You're not good enough.
You're wrong. Nice. Let me show you.
Yeah,
I was on the phone with a broker out of New York, right? And it's amazing how, you know, finance has so much pretension attached to it. It really does. It entertains me because it really smites of insecurity that, you know, I'm on a call with this guy, and he saw our PPM. He saw the one page on our PPM offering that we have that we're doing right now, and he tried to pick it apart just to make himself feel better. You know, an investor would need to see you know, some kind of guaranteed return. I said, let me. There are no guarantees in real estate. I said, but did you look at the PPM? It does offer a preferred 6%. To the investor. Oh, it's got a pref in there? I said, yeah, you didn't read it? No, I skimmed through it. And then he starts to go after the integrity and the history and everything else. And I'm like, you know, in the back of my head, one side of me wants to rip him a new one, right? And just go all Hulk, you know, and destroy, you know, go Firefighter Dave on him. But then the mature side of me is like, you know, he's more to be pitied than scolded because he's working primarily in the stock market, right? That is such a volatile environment for somebody to trade in, let alone invest in, right? And guess what? At the end of it, he said, I might want to put $1 million in your fund. And you know what I said to him? Unfortunately, you're not a good fit. That's what I said.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
But I meant it. I meant it, Michael. Yeah. I look, man, I want relationships first, capital second. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to push any donkeys up any hills today, you know?
Yeah, there was a scene in one of your shows I was looking at, and you screwed up putting on a handle on a cabinet. Yeah. You like drilled the holes in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's, you know, and it's like one of those things like, what do you feel like you're really good at, and maybe what are you not so good at? Yeah,
great question. You know what? I have this conversation at home a lot. When you've spent 16 years as a frontline firefighter and a paramedic, trust me, you know what an emergency is, okay? Like, I know what a real emergency is. So one of the things I'm really good at is assessing the landscape and executing so that everybody wins. I'm really good at that because I don't have pride or ego that get in the way. I don't have any fear attached to it, because I conquered that a long time ago, right? A long time. Fear stands for false education appearing real, or false evidence appearing real. So I'm really good at taking action. What I'm not particularly good at are the details. Actually, let me be honest with you. I suck at the details. All right. Don't ask me to create a spreadsheet, a flow chart. Don't ask me to. What I'm really good at is looking another investor or a partner in the eye, shaking their hand, and giving them a sense of confidence in what the journey that we're going to take together is going to be successful for everybody. That's really what I'm good at. I instill, as the CEO of my company, I lead. I lead by example. And I lead through confidence, and people are attracted to that. It's not like a conscious thing that I do every day. Like, I'm going to get up today and be a leader. No, that's not what I do. I'm going to get up today and make the decisions that some people are too scared to make, or, you know, whatever the case may be. So that's how I'd sum that up, if that makes any sense.
Well, it does, and I think we all have to figure out what our strengths are, and sometimes we try to make up for our weaknesses, or we try to improve our weaknesses, which is not fundamentally wrong, but it's kind of a little bit lost. It's not very that productive.
Outsource. Yeah, outsource.
Well, I was going to say, how do you overcome your weaknesses then? So if you don't have the attention to detail, how do you take care of that part? Because that does have to be taken care of at the end of the day.
Of course. No, of course it does. So at our company, there are 3 fund managers. So there's the CEO, the CIO, the Chief Investment Officer, and then the COO, Chief Operations Officer. When I do the O's, I always want to break into old McDonald at a farm, E-I-E-I-O. So anyway, there's all the O's. But our COO, Eric Wilson, is 25 years old. I stole him from Fidelity. He was writing code for Fidelity to predict market cycles. So he's got that intelligence level that is way above me. I mean, if I want to create a process, if I want to make something simple and easy and timely and efficient, he does that. He creates, marketing flow for our clients. He creates back office systems for our employees. He creates databases that we use consistently for analysis. So that is his role. And I tell you, man, as a CEO of a company, one of my biggest challenges is I think I can get out of my lane at any time. And as soon as I touch something which is not my core competencies, Mike, I break it. I screw it up. I am now deficient instead of efficient for my company. So knowing what I am not good at, and then being able to identify somebody who's exceptional at it, and then bringing them in as value has been an absolute game changer for me as an entrepreneur. And the same thing with our Chief Investment Officer, Walter Novicki, done $250 million worth of real estate transactions in the past 10 years in his career, raised $125 million in private equity, private capital, got a buy box and a system for the assets that we bring in. All I have to do is look pretty and raise money. That's all I have to do. Yeah. And out of those 2, money raising is the only one I'm really good at. The other pretty not so much. But really, that's it in a nutshell. To simplify it down, just staying in my lane. We
talked about, you raised a lot of money, and when you get to a certain, you don't get to raising that kind of capital without building some kind of platform. Now, certainly having a show in A&E certainly is a pretty strong component of your platform. But how did you, over the years, build your platform that allows you to raise tens of millions of dollars?
Yeah. Authenticity. That's one word. We're in a society today where people are so in tuned to, like the snake oil salesman, right? They're so in tune to that. So everything that I've done in business, whether it be from a stage in a teaching environment, so I've taught real estate with Damon John from Shark Tank on one side of me, and Tony Robbins on the other, right? And I've rather than be a showman, I've focused on being a show you man, right? Show me the details, show me the track record. Be honest when you don't know an answer, and just be real. And I have seen a lot of quote celebrities in business fail miserably because they got away from their authenticity. They got away from truth. I find that people will absolutely, and it's old, but it's still so true. People do business with people that they like. They want to find some commonalities. I've been blessed in the crazy life that I've lived, that I've gone through all kinds of, personal experiences that I can find commonality with anybody. I don't care whether you're a billionaire or whether you're just trying to rub a couple of nickels together right now. I can find commonality in places of parallel with people. If you're always searching for somebody else's need before your own, that platform elevates because you're of service, right? Of service, of service, of service. I'm not a religious guy, but I'm a man of faith. And I just say, hey, let me be the best I can be today and help somebody else out along the way. And, if you live that as well as like talk it and people resonate and they see that, raising capital isn't that hard. And here's what's interesting. And I know you'll testify to this too. Now, people have so much fear around capital because of COVID and all of the craziness. It's actually easier to raise capital in a fearful environment than it is in a complacent environment, for want of a better term. So look, man, in one word, Michael, it's authenticity. Tell the truth, be who you are, don't pretend, and if you don't know the answer, say so, but I'll find the answer for you, sir.
That's right. That's right.
The military.
What's like your biggest challenge right now? Because we all have challenges, and it may be a different level. But you're probably at one point going, "Hey, I need to get to the next level. Or I'm dealing with this." Like, what are you dealing with right now?
Getting qualified funds through the different companies to get the capital into our fund. So a qualified fund, a self-directed IRA, a solo 401k. A lot of the custodians are it's almost archaic. They're so heavy in their paperwork, the deliverables, that it can be a challenge. Because look, when somebody writes a check or makes a financial commitment for $250, $500, $1 million, with all the intelligence, it's still an emotional decision that they're making. All right, it's still an emotional decision, and it's very difficult to overcome that buyer's remorse if there isn't speed of execution when somebody gets to a yes, okay? So what we've had a tough time doing, and we've dialed it in now, was and you say, what am I good at, what am I not? My partner, Eric, took all of the documentation from the various big custodians that control self-directed IRAs, et cetera. He took all of their paperwork, if you will, then got it through DocuSign, automated it, so it sits on our end of the equation. So now I can get speed of execution because they want to invest, but they don't want to wait 7, 10, 14, 6 weeks or whatever it is to get that capital through. So right now there's somewhere in the region of 10 to 15, I think it is, million in proven capital, the coming from retirement accounts, et cetera, coming through the pike. So that's been a challenge. And then getting to the right audience can be a challenge as well. What does your marketing system look like? We've been through a couple of marketing challenges along the way. We've just dialed those in. And then on a smaller scale, the meet and greets are a challenge right now, obviously because of COVID. But, we've worked around that. So now we do, investor luncheons at high-end steakhouse. But instead of doing, one with 200 people, I've got to do, 10 with 20 people. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's all good. It's all good. You just keep going at it.
What kind of assets do you guys buy? Like, what are you guys doing right now?
We are exclusively in the multifamily commercial arena. The reason we've done that is again, my chief investment officer, Walter, that 125 in cap raise deployed and paid back with 20% IRRs was in the multifamily arena. And the reason that we're there is because we know statistically people will pay their rent first. A lot of Americans are going to face some pretty substantial financial challenges, into Q4, Q1, Q2. And, we're in a position to capitalize on what COVID brings to the market, but also at the same time, be able to service these people when they're going through their tough times, right? A reduction in rent is okay because we buy based on reduced rent pricing. Vacancies are okay because we buy with vacancies in place because that affects our NOI. Our NOI is the number that we're using to make our offer. So we're always in a protected position. So multifamily assets, and what we've dialed in is the Gulf Coast of Florida, which is where Walter has done the majority of his work. All of the metrics in that area work, even with COVID. There's still an influx, a huge influx of people coming into that market. A lot of folks from the Northeast come in there. And we see massive opportunities in that arena. And we focus on 40 to 140 unit complexes. We're not interested in the 200, the 250, the 300. No interest. And here's why. My investors expect cash flow ASAP. The time it takes to reposition a larger asset is a deficit to them getting that cash flow sooner rather than later, because it's like trying to turn the Titanic. Whereas with the 40 to 140s, I think of them as like little speedboats, right? We can get in there, bad management out, our managers in, get some nice repairs going on in there, fluff and buff the unit, raise the rents if you can, fill vacancies, cash flow, right out of the gate. So that's where we buy, and that's why we buy.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's fantastic. What's kind of next for you guys then?
Fund two. So
Fund two. Good.
Fund two. So Fund one is 100 mil. We expect to be fully capitalized by end of Q2 next year. So while that's going on, we're obviously building the infrastructure for Fund two, which will be 250. In that fund, we may do a Reg D fund attached to that as well. A Reg A fund attached to that, and allow non-accredited investors in as well. But as I'm sure you know, the SEC only allows a certain amount of non-accredited investors into a fund. We'll always be buying multifamily. And then we'll start to look at the direct lending piece of our fund. So coming from the single family buy, fix, and flip world that I've been in, my proficiencies are incredibly high. So to know what deals to lend capital on and what deals to not lend on is, it's in our wheelhouse, kind of do that with your eyes closed. So there's an opportunity for us to pay some very nice returns to our investors when we're lending to other investors on buy, fix, and flip at, 12 to 14%. There's plenty of margin in there for our investors to do exceptionally well on those kinds of loans as well. So that's the big picture plan. Q2 fully funded. We'll already start probably Fund 2 by the end of Q1 and get that up and running. And, diversify out a little bit more into what it is that we do. I'm still not excited about retail, Michael. I'm not excited about office space. The guy who's all excited about buying it for, 50 cents on the dollar today, I'll probably be buying it from him, for 25 cents on the dollar,
right.
Q3 next year. So we'll see how that plays out. But that's a scary landscape.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. Yeah, it doesn't excite me either. Yeah. Hey,
No.
let me say something else here. How has your definition of success changed over the years?
I think true success is inside the four walls of my house. Honestly, I do. Business is business. Business is a challenge. If it wasn't a challenge, then everybody would be in business, right? So I embrace the challenges in business. And are there people more successful than me? Yeah. Are there people less successful than me? Yeah. What is your definition of success in business? I think everybody feels good about what we're doing. Clients, team, right? Vision. That's a definition of success. But I think the true definition of success is, when I get home, my kids run towards me instead of away from me. You know what I'm saying? And, I got my 15-year wedding anniversary coming up in a couple of weeks. And as far as I know, she still loves me, right? She tolerates, the good, the bad, and the ugly that happens when you're out there in the big world. So if I can be in peace, if I can, do a little meditation in the morning and not have my brain screaming and shouting at me. If I can find time to work out a little, if I can find time to say, you know what, Dave, not another bowl of ice cream, you're all good. If I can focus on my well-being, physical, mental, and spiritual, then I think having a commitment to those things first gives me a foundation to be successful in other things going forward. And again, a little bit of faith, right? I'm not a religious guy, but I'm a man of faith, knowing that I can't, he can. I think I'll let him. I pray. Here's the definition of success. Pray. Pray that you replace my fear with faith. And when I believe that and feel it, that's success for me. So there you go, man. We got a little personal there, but that's who I am.
That's great. I think that's fabulous. I learned through some of the crap I went through as well as being at peace despite what's going on. That is a strong component of success, and it does get back to faith because someone's looking out for you, and
Right.
it gives you just a lot of strength, even though the crap's hitting the fan somewhere around you.
It's faith and family, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a perfect example of when not on the beam, if you will, a definition of being either on the beam or off the beam. I came home from the office, I don't know, maybe a month, 2 months ago, whatever it was. And as I came through the door, I say hi to everyone, kiss on the head, kiss on the back of the head for my wife. And then, I went into my home office, immediately open up my computer. And in my 45, in my periphery, I see my little 8-year-old Bennett. And Bennett's, he scares the crap out of me. He's like a little nemesis. He's like me in a small form. He's very strong. He's the smallest one in the family. He's the youngest son, like he's fighting for everything every day. But I see this skinny little kid in my periphery, and he's wearing glasses now. And he looks at me and he goes, I go, what's the matter, buddy? He goes, Dad, it's got to be pretty tough, huh? I go, what, buddy, what? He goes, you work all day, and then you come home, and you got to work some more. Dad, that's just not acceptable.
Oh, that's classic right there. Oh, what can you say to that except for shut down your laptop and go, oh my gosh.
That's exactly it. Shut down a laptop. And then you look at him, and I say to him, I said, so how was your day? And then he starts on this big tirade of stuff that it makes no sense to me whatsoever, right? No sense at all. But that's I think a definition of success at a micro level. Tiger Woods' father, if you read any of the Earl Woods stuff or Tiger stuff, Earl Woods, when he would really want to be connected to his son, he would kneel down and make sure he was eyeball to eyeball. I'm 6'3", I'm 220 pounds, I'm a big dude, and that's a little 8-year-old body right there. It's got to be kind of intimidating, right? So I always try and deploy some of those parenting techniques. And look, man, I fail and succeed 100 times all in one day. It's consistency is what we kind of shoot for. So,
Dave, how can people find you?
How can they find me? Just look outside. I'm in the bushes right now. You can find me.
There he is. Oh my gosh, you're right.
There he is. I always used to say to my contractors, you're never going to get ahead of me. And they go, why? I go, because if you get ahead of me, then I got to come over your house. I got to wait outside in the bushes. I just don't want to do it. And they look at me like, this guy's crazy. I'm not in your bushes. Look, you can get a hold of me. You can find us at freedomventure.com, freedomventure.com. We just launched something, and is it okay to just talk about a little thing we got going on,
Sure.
Michael? Yeah, we just launched a Freedom Venture Investor Club. One of the things that I have learned along the way is an educated investor is definitely a smarter investor. They're more valuable to me as a fund manager, and obviously their value increases. So if you go to freedomventure.com, freedomventure.com, I'm not sure if it's up there yet, but at the top there'll be a investor club, and it's a short commitment. It's a couple of grand just to be in the group. 500 of that $2,000 is actually a charitable contribution to Tunnels to Towers, which is a foundation that's very dear to me and also to Walter. Walter's ex-military, I'm ex-firefighter. And then that 1,500 is just to keep somebody committed. And then we're going through a one-year program where we're actually teaching what we're doing in the fund. Some investors like to be passive. Some investors want to be active. And then the deals that don't make the fund, we can also share those with our investor club as well, so that there's a little bit of deal flow going on. So we're excited about that stuff. So freedomventure.com, you can find us over there. And look around. And if you're an investor, check out our PPM and our portal. One of our team will have a conversation with you, find out what your investing goals are, and maybe we can help you out.
Sounds good. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun, Dave. Great getting to know you. So thanks for being on the show today.
Yeah, appreciate you, Mike. Thanks, man. Have a great day.
What I love about Dave is from early on, he just committed to the activity, not so much to the outcome. This is what Hal Elrod talks about in his book, The Miracle Equation, which we haven't read it before, is super powerful. And it took him a long time. He was not an overnight success. The other thing I love about Dave is he kind of just does stuff, almost like impulsive. Like he says yes to opportunity that comes along. Reminds me of another great book called The Untethered Soul. You can find it on Amazon, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, where this guy like basically totally broke, decides to trust the universe or whatever by saying yes to everything that comes along. And it's funny because all these things, he ends up being the CEO of a $1 billion company. It's really amazing. And my sense from talking to Dave is he just said yes to a lot of things, and he's not afraid to think big because he keeps saying yes to things. I think it's a powerful combination. So check him out. He's a great guy. Also, he certainly is working on a fund. We are also working on a fund, and we're always raising money. We'd love to have you in our investment club. If you want to find out more, go to nighthawkequity.com and click the join club to join our club. And then you can schedule a call with us and have a conversation. We just closed on a 130-unit deal in Atlanta, and it was amazing. The only thing that wasn't amazing is that there were so many other people that wanted to get into the deal, and the deal just wasn't big enough. So we're working like crazy on sourcing additional high-quality deals for you guys. But we do need to have a conversation with you before we can do that. So go to nighthawkequity.com/join. We're also really excited that we have a full-time investor relations person on board and really serve our investors better. We've done an okay job, but man, there's a lot of room for improvement, and it does require focus. So I'm really excited about that. Also excited about, since COVID, we had 4 students who joined our mentoring program close deals. That is insane. People are actually closing deals. We closed a deal during COVID. We actually sold 3 deals during COVID. So deals are still getting done, contrary to popular belief. And so we're excited about our mentoring program because it's working so well. In fact, we have a 12-month guarantee that if you don't do your first deal, then we continue working with you until you do. And we can do that because we've helped so many people do their first deal. We've kind of figured it out. We have our blueprint, and it's really, really effective. So you want to check it out? Go to michaelblank.com/mentor and schedule a strategy session with us. No obligation, just have a conversation with us, see if that's right for you. If you value mentorship, you have the ability to invest in yourself, and that way it'll be the best way to accelerate your outcome and become financially free. So hope you guys were inspired today's interview with Dave Seymour. Catch you guys in the next episode. Hey, and before you leave, make sure you subscribe to my channel below. We put out videos every single week, and you don't want to miss it. Also, if you haven't done so already, grab my free ebook here, okay? It's a secret to raising money to buy your first apartment building deal. It's a good one, so grab that. And hey, check out another video.